welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hi, my name is Nicole and I'm a part-time reseller on Poshmark. Today I want to talk about things that you should not be doing on Poshmark. These are things that are going to hurt your sales and in turn make it so you're not as successful on the platform. And these are also going to be ways that you can improve and do better. So if this is something that you would like to watch and if this is something that interests you, please feel free to keep watching and make sure that you're subscribed so you don't miss any other future reselling content that I do. I do videos every single Thursday on Poshmark and reselling related things, so I would love to have you stick around for more. Without further ado, let's get right into the video and talk about things that you should stop doing on the platform. First thing that you should stop doing on Poshmark, which is so important, is to stop worrying about how many likes an item has. I know so many resellers that don't want to relist an item because it has 100 likes or it has 30 likes or it has a couple likes, and really the truth behind it all is it doesn't really matter how many likes an item has because all it takes is one person that wants the item to buy it. At first I kind of felt this way, like I had a couple items that had a lot of likes and I didn't want to relist because I figured, well, all those people that are interested in the item that are eventually going to purchase will no longer be able to purchase because I got rid of those likes on the item. And the truth is that doesn't matter because most of the time they're not going to buy anyway. So for me, I've actually started relisting my items with the most amount of likes, and I've actually found that brought in a lot more sales. I've sold a couple items this week that were sitting and they had a couple likes but no one was buying them, and they were sitting for months, and all I did was relist it, got rid of all those likes, and then somebody bought it in the new feed. So it's really just important to do this and not focus on the things that really don't matter, which is, those likes. A general rule of thumb is if something has been sitting for a while, it's probably stale, but also if it has racked up that many likes and it hasn't sold, that probably means something. And so I take that as this is a perfect chance to relist the item and get new people to see the item, and then chances are it'll probably sell a lot quicker. The next thing that you should stop doing on Poshmark is worrying about how many followers you have. So this again doesn't really do anything. The only thing it really does is get your items in front of more people's closets, but then again, those people that are following you might not be following you because they want to shop from you. They might just be following you because they like your closet or they want to support you as a seller, but that doesn't mean that they're going to actually buy from you. And I've actually realized this over time. Like, I always thought, well, the more followers you have, the more sales you're going to have, and that's not necessarily true. And so it's important to realize that just because you have a smaller amount of following or a larger amount of following doesn't mean that you're going to make more or less sales. And so for me, I just kind of focus on making sure I'm sharing my items and getting my items in front of more people's feeds, but I'm not really focused on making sure I have the most followers on the platform. And I know it's very easy for a lot of people to take that as a number of success and think, well, I'm not successful because I have a smaller following. And that's not true, because I've actually seen with people that do lives, I've actually seen people that have way less of a following that actually have more people on their lives to support them. And also that you could be a very small seller in terms of following, but you could still make a lot of sales. As long as you have the right listings and the right prices, you're going to make those sales. So don't worry about the things that don't really matter. The only thing I can say about the following is it is good if you do want to go live, because then the more people that are following you, the more people will be notified when you go live. But I don't think it makes that much of a difference, and there are ways around that. So I think focus on making sure your items are good and make sure that you are focusing on having the right inventory and pricing it in the right spot, and then you will make more sales. So the next thing that you should stop doing pretty much immediately is stop declining offers, and also stop taking those lowball offers personally, because one, it's not personal, and two, it doesn't really matter because they just are trying to get a good deal. So really all you have to do is counter offer, and if you decline, you're automatically decreasing that chance of making that sale because you're basically cutting off that line of communication. They are not going to want to, even bother to counter again if you just decline their offer. So I just highly recommend either countering or giving it a few minutes and seeing if somebody else buys it, because sometimes when there's an active offer, people get notified and then somebody else can actually buy it. So that's kind of a trick, is to give it a few minutes. Don't decline immediately just because it's a low offer. Sometimes that actually really helps somebody else that was interested in the item that previously liked it decide that they really want to buy it because they know that there's another active offer out there. So if you don't really want to accept, definitely just wait, don't decline right away. And if you want to counter, you can go ahead and counter. I tend to counter closer to my price, even if they send me a low ball, but you never know who's going to counter back or who's going to be interested. So I highly recommend just countering, and you never know when you're gonna be able to make that sale. And sometimes someone that sends you a really low offer actually might accept your offer, after. So you definitely want to give it a try. It can't hurt. And what's the worst that they could do? Just not answer? They might just, see your offer and that's it, and you don't hear from them again. But that's better than declining, because one, declining hurts you in the algorithm, and two, declining automatically cuts off that line of communication. Where if you send them an offer, they have the choice of either countering again or accepting your offer. So I highly recommend just stop declining offers and stop taking those lowball personally, because those lowball offers are not personal, and it's so easy to get wrapped up in them and get upset and get defensive about it, but just kind of move on and either counter or just wait until somebody else buys the item. Okay, so the next thing that you should stop doing is actually something I talked about in last week's video. So if you haven't seen that video, definitely check it out. But it is to stop having those stale listings. Having stale listings will really hurt you as a seller, and especially on Poshmark, things get stale very quickly. They get stale within about 2 months. So if you are not relisting your stale items, you definitely should start doing that. And I've actually sold like multiple things this past week just because I relisted them and they got fresh eyes in front of them. It is so important, and sometimes people don't realize how quickly it actually works. But like, I relisted a pair of shoes like 2 days ago, and they were getting no attention prior to me relisting them. And then I got an offer on them today, a very reasonable offer. And so of course I accepted. And so basically all I'm trying to say is, if you have those stale listings, if they've been sitting for a while, relist them. If they have a lot of likes, like I mentioned in the first point, relist them. Somebody else is going to see them and somebody else is going to want to buy them. And so it's so important to make sure that you don't have those stale listings. And if you want to see the 3 ways that I recommend relisting, I go from the most basic way to the best way, I think. You could definitely check out last week's video. I definitely talk about all the great ways that you can relist and get those stale items out, and that's going to help you make more sales. And the final thing that you should really stop doing on Poshmark that is not helping you at all is using emojis or buzzwords in your title. So I see a lot of people that will put like new, or they'll put like the emoji that has like new written on it, or they'll put like host pick or just in, or things like that in their titles. And doing that is actually not helping you, it's actually hurting you, because those items are not going to be searchable in the search feed. So if someone's searching for something on Poshmark or even on Google, and they're searching the brand name, the style, the color, or whatever they have about the item, and you have all that extra stuff in your title, your item is not going to come up in their feed. So basically you're hurting your chances of that item selling right off the bat. And I know a lot of people like to do that when they have new items. They like to, specify that it's a new item. But really, if someone's shopping on Poshmark, they don't really care about if it's a new item or not. Because if it's the item that they're looking for, they're gonna buy it regardless if it's new or not. So I think it's better to just not put that at all. And also because it gets to a point where you're gonna have to erase that anyway after a certain amount of time. So save yourself the hassle. Don't put emojis in your title. Don't put keywords or buzzwords like that in your title. Focus on describing the item, focus on describing the brand, the pattern, the colors, the textures, the fit, and maybe the size if you have that as well. Those are things that are going to help the item sell better and come up in search feeds. So get rid of those emojis that are not really helping you, and make sure that you're focusing on only putting words in the title that are helpful. If you really have the desire to put keywords or buzzwords in your descriptions, go ahead and do that in a description only. Don't put it in the title, because that way somebody already found your listing from those keywords that you put in the title. And so then they can see, okay, well, maybe this was newly listed. But it doesn't really matter for the first impression, which is important for the title and the stock photo. And like I've mentioned prior, you want to have white backgrounds in your stock photos. That's also really going to help you have a better first impression on your buyers. So make sure that, the buyer is going to be able to find your item in the search feed. And if you don't understand this well enough, think about it as if you were shopping online yourself and you had something in specific that you were looking for. You would search for the brand if you wanted the brand, if you would search for a style, or if you knew the name of the item, you'd search for that, or if you wanted a specific color and a size, you would type in all the words that you had to describe the item, and something like that would come up in the search. But something that has emojis and just in, or like keywords like that, host pick, those things aren't going to come up if you search for what you're specifically looking for. So keep that in mind when you're titling things, and I think that would really help you have a little bit more success when it comes to your listings. So all in all, these are 5 things that I think that are really hurting your business. and they are really slowing your sales on Poshmark. It is so important to stop doing these 5 things and start doing the other things that I recommend instead. So make sure that your titles and your descriptions are good, and make sure that you're not using those emojis, make sure you don't have those stale listings, and make sure that you're not really focusing on the likes and making sure that, you know, your item has a lot of likes, and make sure that you're not declining those offers, because that's not really helping anything. And I know it's so easy to do and it feels so satisfying sometimes, but it's not helping you at all make more sales. And actually it hurts you in the algorithm too, so I just don't recommend doing it at all. If you like this video, definitely give it a like, and also make sure that you subscribe so you don't miss that future reselling content that I do. But also, if you want to see the video that I was talking about before, which is the 3 ways that I recommend relisting, you can click right here. And if you want to see more things that you should and shouldn't do on Poshmark, you can click right here. But until next time, I'll see you then.